how are you today? I hope you had a good night's rest. It's another day, and today we'll be studying math. Yesterday we looked at lesson 11 and unit 5. Today we'll be looking at unit 6, so get your student book and your pencils, your biros, and everything you need for the lesson. Today, once again, we're looking at unit 6, and the topic is word problems on area and perimeter. So we'll be solving a lot of questions on area and perimeter. The only objective we have today is to be able to find area and perimeter of squares and rectangles. So when we check all the questions, or by the time we're finished doing all the questions, we should be able to find area and perimeter of any square and any rectangle. Now let's see perimeter and area. We want to remind ourselves before we go to the lesson, before we start the word problems. Let us look at perimeter. We said we want to find the perimeter of squares and rectangles. How then do we find the perimeter and also area? What is a perimeter? Remember when we said in the last class that perimeter measures all the sides outside a 2D shape, all of the sides, both the length and the width. Okay? What about area? Area, on the other hand, okay, just before that, we must also know that perimeter is measured in centimeter and meter. We can measure in centimeter and meter. Those are the units we use in measuring. But for the area here we will focus on just area since we already know what perimeter is. For area measures all the space inside a 2D shape. Inside. Remember, perimeter measures all the sides outside, but area measures all the space inside a 2D shape. And also remember that area is always measured in square units. Centimeter square, meter square, kilometer square is always measured in square units. So let's see the difference between the perimeter of a square and the perimeter of a rectangle. After that, we'll also see the difference between the area of a square and the area of a rectangle. For a square, let's look at the perimeter. Remember we said in the last lesson that all the sides of a square are equal. So if one side of a square is, for example, 6 centimeter, it means all the other sides will also be 6 centimeter each. And perimeter measures all the sides. It will add all the sides together. So if one side of the square is 6 centimeter, then the four sides of the square, that's the perimeter, will be 6 times 4. That is 6 times the sides. That's the number of sides of the square. Now, for the rectangle, okay, there's another way just before we go to the rectangle. It's either you say 6 times 4, that is 6 times side, or side times side, since all the sides are the same, or you add together by saying side plus side plus side plus side. Okay, now let's look at the perimeter of the rectangle, which will measure all the sides of the rectangle. But remember, the rectangle does not have all equal sides. It only has the width equal and the length equal. Can you see the width of this rectangle? They have the same length, That's they have the same measurements. Let's use that word. They have the same measurements. None of them is longer than the other one. They are the same. Look at the length. The length is also the same. Okay? So now this is a rectangle. How do we find the perimeter? To find the perimeter, we add the two lengths and then the two widths and add the two together. So if the length of this rectangle is 5 centimeter and the width is 2 centimeter, then we will have to add 5 and 5 and then also add 2 and 2. Then the answer from the length and the answer from the width, we add the two all together. Or we can say 2 times length plus 2 times width. So if the length of this rectangle is 5 centimeter, we will have 2 times 5 plus the width, which is 2 centimeter. 2 times 2. So 2 times 5 plus 2 times 2 is 10 plus 4, and that is 14. Another thing you can do is to add length plus length plus width plus width. It will give you the perimeter of a rectangle. Let's see the area. The area of a square is side times side. Do not forget, perimeter is side times 4 because it adds all the sides of a square together. But the area is side times side. So if, for example, the side of this square is 6 centimeter, to find the area, we will multiply 6 times 6 because the sides are the same. So we multiply 6 by 6. Remember, for the perimeter, it would be 6 times 4. But for the area, it will be 6, which is the length of the rectangle of the square, times 6. Please do not forget that. Also, for a rectangle, because all the sides are not the same, to find the area, we multiply length times width. So if the length is 5 and the width is 2, we just pick only one of the length, 5, and only one of the width, 2. And 5 times 2 will be 10. That is how to find the area. And don't forget, when you're writing the answer for your area, it is always in square units. That's centimeter square, meter square, or kilometer square.